Hello YouTube, Gaming Goddess here with a Japanese role-playing game for the PS3 called Atelier Totori, The Adventure of Arland. This game is the second installment to the Arland series and is the 12th installment to the Atelier series. Atelier Totori takes place 5 years after the events of Atelier Rorana. So let's get into the review. The player takes on the role of our main protagonist Totori, whose main goal is to be a first-class adventurer in hopes to find her mother. With that being said, the general gameplay is going to be like previous Atelier games. Let's first take a quick look at the world map. This is how we travel from one location to the next. Depending on how far a place is will determine the amount of days it will take to travel. At the start of the game, the player doesn't have very many places to explore, but as you advance through the game, we are given more locations. While traveling on foot, we are able to find money, items, and sometimes we can even run into enemies before we reach our location. Let's take a look at the battle system. Whether you encounter an enemy on the map or while exploring one of the many locations, the battle system will be the same. In this game, we have a turn-based battle system. The player's party can be Totori and any of the other 2 playable characters in the game. Totori can use basic attacks and items. The other 2 party members can do basic attacks and skilled attacks. Sometimes during battle, the other 2 party members will be able to defend Totori. Follow-up attacks can also be performed. If all party members' HP reach 0, this doesn't result in a game over, but instead takes days away from your adventure. Honestly, I would rather see a game over screen than have to reduce days, since a lot of the quests are required to be done by a certain in-game date. Like I had mentioned previously, when the player is traveling, Totori will sometimes stop to pick up items. These items can also be picked up at any given location that the player can explore. The items are all ranked from E being the worst to S being the best. I try to collect as many high-ranking items as possible. Back at Totori's workshop, we can use these items, or better yet, materials, to create even better and more useful items. This is called synthesizing. The player will obtain different recipes from shops, exploring different places, and during certain in-game events. When we go to synthesize an item, we need to have all of the materials the recipe requires. With enough gathered items, we can sometimes make more than one. If your MP, or magic points, run out while synthesizing, Totori will pass out. Also, if Totori's alchemy level isn't high enough, items can break during synthesizing. Let's take a look at the Endgame Quest as well as the main goal of the game. By visiting the bar in Totori's home village or the Adventurers Guild in the Kingdom of Arland, the player can take on a number of quests. Some can be as simple as slaying a few monsters or bringing a certain item. I personally like to accept as many quests as possible, though you can pretty much do whichever ones you want or whichever ones are easier for you. The main goal of the game is to become a first-class adventurer. After the intro to the game and a couple of tutorials, the player will finally be able to get an adventurer's license. This is where the game really starts to get interesting. The player is given the task to reach the highest rank as possible by the end of the 5th year. Under the menu, we can check the different tasks and quests that are needed to be done in order to earn points. When the player has enough points, they can go back to the Adventurers Guild and rank up. And you keep doing this until the end of the game. It's pretty tedious, but I actually kinda like it. Moving right along, let's take a look at the graphics and audio for this game. All Atelier games that I have played so far all have the same art style, which still looks good in my opinion. It makes the game look very cute and girly. I do wish these games were given at least some type of anime cutscenes, but we are only given the CG images during certain events in the game. The game's background music can get slightly annoying at times, but that's just how most RPGs are. Each area has a different song playing in the background, so it isn't too bad. You can always turn the audio off. As for the voice acting, I actually like it in English a lot. The characters are voiced really well, and you might even recognize some. The player can also choose the Japanese voice acting if they wish. Now let's take a look at the pros and cons. First, some pros would include a good story, good general gameplay, it's not too hard but at the same time it isn't too easy, good voice acting, a good and a bad ending, a good art style, and this game gives you 5 years to complete your main goal. As for the cons, repetitive background music, but that can be expected, and there is no game over screen when the party members faint, resulting in wasting days instead of starting from your last save. Overall, Atelier Totori is probably my favorite installment from the Arland series. Totori is a cute young girl who has high hopes of becoming a great adventurer and finding her mother. I really like her character design as well as the general background story we are given about her. Another good thing about this game, in my opinion, is that we were given 5 whole years to complete the main goal of the game. I know that Atelier Rorana and Atelier Memoru only gave us 3 years, which makes it feel kind of short. Short games are fun, and they're usually pretty easy, and you don't really spend a lot of time having to do a bunch of stuff, but Totori, on the other hand, feels about average compared to the other 2 games in the Arland series. The game feels like it gives the player a little bit more time to explore different places and complete a few more goals without being rushed. With that being said, this one is definitely my favorite and gets a 9 out of 10. If you liked the video, then go ahead and press the like button. Also, leave me a comment telling me what you think of Atelier Totori. I love reading everyone's opinions. Also, feel free to leave any game suggestions as well. This has been a Gaming Goddess review. And remember to keep on gaming.